Now, whether they're raw or cooked, mushrooms are an ideal ingredient for every night cooking. And to learn how these earthy vegetables grow, we went to the source at the Basciani farm.
Chester County, Pennsylvania. Its lush green landscape and rolling hills is home to Kennett Square, the mushroom capital of the world. Since the late 1800s, farmers have worked and perfected what has become Pennsylvania's largest cash crop. For the Basciani family, mushroom farming has been a family tradition since 1925. It all started with their grandfather. 4 generations later, the business continues to prosper.
Mushrooms, yes.
Even the smallest member of the family knows how to pick a mushroom. When I visited the Basciani farm, I learned that growing mushrooms requires patience. No one knows better than Michael Basciani. He runs the business now with his 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
You have to have a passion for in your heart to be able to grow something. It's a 7-day-a-week job. You don't live like a normal person, 5-day-a-week, 40 hours.
We're surrounded by mushrooms. Tell me what kind we're seeing all around us.
We have portobello mushrooms in the bed here on the shelf. We have cremini mushrooms, which are also called Italian brown or baby bellas.
Growing up on a mushroom farm became a way of life for Michael and his brothers. They learned at a young age that you couldn't grow good mushrooms without good compost. This is the most crucial step when it comes to growing mushrooms. 600 tons of hay along with horse and poultry manure are blended together weekly to make the compost. Water is added to break it down. Because mushrooms have no chlorophyll or a way to make food for themselves, they get all their nutrients from the compost.
So what is this room used for, this big building?
These are our mushroom houses, and right when the compost comes off the wharf, they're filled, we put them inside these houses. They're in trays, and we go through a cookout process. We cook the impurities out of that compost.
Inside the mushroom house, it's like a sauna. The smell of ammonia naturally created by the compost weighs heavy in the air.
That's what the compost looks like. A little hot in there right now.
Strong ammonia.
108 degrees in there.
Once the compost is ready, a piece of rye grain covered with mushroom spores is planted in it.
So it's a little piece of grain, and there's spore coating the whole thing.
Right. And then like tomorrow, a machine will come in here, like a giant rototour, and they'll run down these beds here and they'll dig it in like rototillers in the garden.
In just a matter of weeks, those tiny spores will start to look like these portobellos. In the 1940s, portobello mushrooms were thrown away. They were considered too brown, flat, and had an undesirable open gill. Today, they're one of the most popular. Mushrooms mature at different sizes. Picking them is tedious work. When a mushroom is picked, it's carefully spun and lifted out of the compost. It must be picked without harming the layer of mushrooms growing around it.
This is your perfect portobello, yes. But a nice flat gill with a little crown on the side is perfect.
A portobello mushroom is a mature cremini mushroom. Creminis look like this. The decision on which creminis will become portobellos is based on the stem.
If the stem is half the size of the cap, then you know it's not going to be a portobello. Okay? If the stem is almost as fat as the cap at this size, then you let it go. It's going to be a portobello. That's why I say it's very much important to watch what you're harvesting.
So good.
Portobello, white, and cremini mushrooms are all grown the same way, in beds of rich compost. Shiitake mushrooms are cultivated on oak logs or oak sawdust. Oyster mushrooms are grown in bags filled with cottonseed hulls.
I heard that mushrooms have more potassium than bananas.
It's true. That's true. That's true. Mushrooms are very good raw, but this portobello is also excellent when it's cooked because it's like a sponge. It absorbs any flavor you want to cook with it.
Mushrooms thrive on fresh air and clean water. The temperature inside the mushroom houses is kept at a cool 60 degrees. The whole cycle from compost to harvesting is about 15 weeks.
When you look over at the different beds, they look like bubbles, like white bubbles just coming up out of the moss, the peat moss. Is that what that is, peat moss?
Yes, it is.
The Bascianis produce about 1 million pounds of mushrooms a week. They're proud theirs is a family-run business. They say that's the reason their mushrooms taste better than others on the market.
Our mushrooms, I think, have 76 years of family history to grow that product, and We've built our business on consistency.
And their favorite way to cook them is on the grill, after soaking them in a little seasoning.
You must be so proud.
Oh, I am proud. I am very proud. Very proud of.
Little did Mario Basciani know that one day his small business with 15 workers would mushroom to include his sons, his daughters, his grandchildren, and 160 employees.
They enjoy what they're doing, and they're all happy doing it. I'm proud of all of them.
Yeah.
Do you want to taste them?
I'd love to. I'd love to taste it.
Very good. Very good.
Delicious.
And the Basciani family knows there's nothing like sharing good food with family. It's a tradition and a way of life they hope will continue with generations to come.